So welcome guys back to another video in the channel. Today we're going to be doing our Premier League predictions for the season 21-22. And yeah, it only feels like yesterday since I was doing the predictions for last season. And yeah, they went very well, didn't they? Not really. They went pretty terrible if I'm honest. I did get one place off a lot of them, but this time hopefully, as you can see here, which I'm going to go through in a second, I've got them a slightly bit better. But we are going to get straight into it. Now the three promoted sides were Brentford, Norwich and Watford. And they're the three teams coming in into the Premier League. And obviously the reigning champions are Manchester City, and we will get onto them in a second. And obviously they are probably going to retain their title, aren't they? But let's just get on to it. First of all, number 20, Brentford. I think Brentford are going to finish rock bottom in the 20th position. Now, I may be surprised. I don't know. But from what I do know is their best player, Ivan Toney, is his first time in the Premier League. Will he ball? Will he not? And I think the survival of Brentford will probably be heavily reliant on someone like Ivan Toney to bag 15 goals this season. But is he going to bag 15 goals this season in the Premier League? He's gone through the ranks very quickly. League One, he did very well with Peterborough. Then in the Championship, he did really well with Brentford. And now he's made the move up to the Premier League. Can he cope with the Premier League? And that is going to be a massive talking point for Brentford, whether they can hold on to someone like him. And other than that, I can't really think of their other players. They've got someone like David Raya in goal. He's pretty good as well. He's obviously linked with Arsenal in recent times. Other than that, I can't really think of many of their players. Victor Jensen, former Leeds player, plays in the centre-back. He's alright. But again, I just don't think they have enough to survive in the Premier League. And that's why, out of every team in the Premier League, I'm going to put in them 20th. 19th, bloody Burnley. This may be a big surprise. But I'm going to go for a bit of a surprise. And that is Burnley. Now, Burnley they've hit a lot of financial issues recently, which means they've not been able to dip into the transfer market and improve their squad. Now, in the Premier League, when you do that, you always run a risk of falling behind. Now, Burnley have survived that quite a bit because they're a team that have been, ever present in the Premier League for the last quite a few years, and they've been quite comfortable. Obviously, made a push for Europe, got into Europe before getting knocked out by Aberdeen. But I do think Burnley are a team that'll probably run out of steam this year, if I'm honest. And look, I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. And they could have a good season. They could have another stable season as they always do. But I personally think a team like Burnley is starting to run out of steam a little bit. And I do think they are going to start to fall behind if they're not careful. Yes, I know financial issues, it doesn't help with Corona thing and that. But personally, I don't think they're going to survive, and they're going to finish 19th. Number 18th, I'm going to go with is Norwich. Now, Norwich, they got promoted, finishing top, but the season before, they were bottom of the Premier League. And yeah, they've not improved their squad massively from that team that got relegated. They have decreased though because they did sell their best player in Emiliano Buendia to Aston Villa. So that is a big oof in my opinion, because it's going to be very hard to replace someone that you've been so reliant on, especially in the Championship. And I do think it's going to be very difficult for Norwich to replace him. And I do think it's going to be tight between the teams above and Norwich to see who will survive in the Premier League. But I just don't think Norwich have it this year again. They are making one or two good signings here and there, but will it be enough? And that's always the question. I don't think it will be for Norwich, in my opinion. So I do think they're going to get relegated. Number 17th, I'm going to go with is Newcastle. Now, Newcastle are always a team. They're a massive club. Don't get it twisted. Newcastle are a massive club. And it just hasn't always worked out for Newcastle, has it? Obviously, towards the back end of last season, Joe Willock was their shining light. Will he come back to them? Will he not? I am not too sure. The rest of the squad isn't that great, and are they improving upon that right now? I don't know. Will they? I don't know. It's very interesting to see whether they will or not. But again, I do think they'll survive in the Premier League, but it won't be by a lot. So I'm going to go Newcastle on 17th. The next promoted team is Watford, and I'm going to put them at 16th. The main reason I'm going to put them at 16th, obviously I don't know if they're going to improve their squad a whole lot, but I do think they have a Premier League ready squad, because Remember, this team has been in the Premier League for 10 years before they got relegated the season before. And I think that I see Watford as a Premier League team. I see them as a Premier League team. And I do think with the experience they've got in their team, they can easily survive the Premier League. Not easily, but they can survive the Premier League. And I do think they will, just above Newcastle in 16th. It won't be very easy for them, but I think they will because they have got that Premier League experience within their squad to help them out. And that's why I'm going to put Watford at 16th. Number 15, I'm going to go with Southampton. Now, again, Southampton, they've had underwhelming last few years under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Now, obviously, they've had very disappointing results like the 9-0s they've had, and you would have thought that it would have been the end of Hasenhüttl, but he's kept going, and at times, obviously last season they were first at one point, but it's really fallen off a cliff for him since then, if I'm honest, and it wasn't great. And yeah, I really do think that Southampton do need to up their game, sign some top level players because they've got the likes of Ward-Prowse and they did finish 15th last season as well. So I personally do think they're not going to move from that. They're not going to move away from 15th in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I'm going to put them. 14th, I'm going to go with Brighton. Now, Brighton, they've lost arguably one of their best players in Ben White to Arsenal. So obviously that's going to hurt them quite a lot. They did finish 16th last season, but I do think they will improve because Graham Potter is a team that if he can, get Mwepu, get a few other players in, he can start to push up the table. It won't be by a lot though, in my opinion, because there are teams above them which probably are better than Brighton. And to be fair, Graham Potter is doing alright with the players he's working with because he hasn't got a brilliant load of players he's working with, but he's probably doing his best. So there we go. That's Brighton on 14th. Number 13th, Crystal Palace. Now, this is under a team under big transition, obviously under Patrick Vieira. They have made quite a few good signings. That's Conor Gallagher, Mikel Elise, and I think there were a few others as well. Can't remember. But yeah, I think someone like Palace, they're under transition and they're under an inexperienced manager. Now, I rate Patrick Vieira as a manager. I think he's done quite well with the American club New York and he's done alright with Nice as well. So I think this is a good step up for Patrick Vieira. And look, some people say he'll be back in relegation. I don't think that'll be the case. I think they'll be in 13th. They will have a secure season. They've made good signings and they'll probably make a few more as well at the time of recording. So I think with Palace, secure 13th. Next one, Wolves. Now, another team under huge transition at the moment. Obviously, they got rid of Nuno Espirito Santo to Spurs, and now they've got in Bruno Lage from, I think it was Benfica, his last club, I can't remember. But they've got in Bruno Lage, and they're, again, undergoing big transition at the moment at their club. Under risk of losing some of their main players like Adama Traore and Ruben Neves being linked with moves away. So again, it's going to be a year of transition, but I think Wolves are a team that have a lot of talent within their squad. And I think they're a team that can comfortably finish mid-table in the Premier League. Because again, Nuno did very well with this team, but now it was quite an aging team. So now what they need to do is take a step back to maybe take 2 steps forward. Because at the moment, last season was really terrible for them. They went under some really bad patches. And if they want to stay as a Premier League side, they need to do better. They finished 13th last season. I don't think they'll improve too much, and I'm going to put them at 12 because, again, it is a transition season for them. Number 11, Everton. Now, again, Everton, they finished 10th last season. I'm going to put them one step down. I'm going to put them in 11th. Carlo Ancelotti probably got the best out of the squad he had, to be honest. Everton are a team that underachieve quite a lot for the players they have. You'd expect them to maybe make Europe once every few years or something, but they don't. They don't push that high enough. Ancelotti dipped to Real Madrid. Now they've got Rafa Benitez. He needs to win over the fans. He's made some very questionable signings, in my opinion. Demari Gray, Andres Townsend. Do these really improve this team? I think he also signed the former Southampton keeper. I can't remember his name. And yeah, in my opinion, the former Begovic. I think that's what he signed. So again, I don't see Everton doing much better. So 11th for me. 10th, West Ham. Now, this is a surprise because they did finish 6th. Now, hear me out here. Some of their key players could leave. Lingard, don't know his future because he was one of the catalysts for West Ham staying in the top 6. And they look like they might bring in someone like Zuma. Is he that great though? I'm not too sure. You got other players as well. And I don't think West Ham are going to keep that. And look, usually when a smaller club like West Ham break into the European spots, you don't expect them to stay there. It never happens. Look at Wolves, they dropped off. Look at Burnley, they dropped off. So yeah, I do think West Ham will finish 10th. Ninth, I'm going to go with Leeds. Now, Leeds, I think they've made some pretty good signings and they've already got players and they've got the manager. I think that's the big thing. They've got the manager and they finished ninth last season. I think they'll finish ninth again. I don't think they'll finish any higher because I do think there are stronger teams than Leeds ahead of them. But they've signed the likes of Junior Firpo. They are going to improve their attack line a bit more with the likes of Rafinha, Bamford still there. And I do think they've got a lot of qualities to, move on and push on. But ninth, I think, is still the cap for this season. And maybe the next season they can push on if they make better signings and improve even more. But I think with Marcelo Bielsa, they always have a chance. So I'm going to go with ninth. Leeds. Eighth, Aston Villa. Now, eighth is not enough to get Europe unless other cup competitions go their way. But I think eighth will be going to Aston Villa. The main reason is I think they've made a lot of good signings. They've just secured the signing of Leon Bailey, which probably will be the Jack Grealish replacement. Yes, Grealish is leaving and he will affect them 100%. But I think what Aston Villa are doing right now, in terms of Buendia, Bailey, Watkins, Barkley, who they'll probably bring in, like some McGinn are still there. Their back line's pretty still decent. And they've got a good manager. So I think they can still push high up that table. And I'm going to put them in 8th. Number 7, I'm going to go with Arsenal. And now this is my club. Obviously a hard one to put them in 7th. But I think they will finish 7th in the UEFA Conference League spot. Now Arsenal, at the moment, I've only signed Ben White, Lokonga and Tavares. We do need to sign more players. But with Arteta, I don't think we really have a chance of getting into the top 6 at least, in my opinion. And that's just how it's going to be. And Arsenal, I'm going to put them in 7th. Tottenham Hotspur are going to go in 6th, in my opinion. Now, they did finish 5th. No, they finished 7th. They finished 7th, yeah, because obviously they got Conference League. I do think they're going to finish 6th this season. And because obviously likes of West Ham are dropping, so I do think Spurs are going to overtake them, and then Arsenal are going to overtake Spurs in that 7th position. I do think that's how it's going to go. And yeah, that's just it. Spurs obviously going to lose like Harry Kane maybe, but can they replace them? They've been linked with pretty decent players. Romero, the Pierluigi Golini's pretty good. Both come from Atalanta. They'll probably add to that as well. So they've got a pretty good team and a pretty good manager as well. So in Nuno Espirito Santo, who will lead them in the Conference League. I think they'll probably win the Conference League if I'm honest. But let's just see what Spurs can do. But I think they'll finish 6th. Next one, Leicester City. I'm going to put them in 5th. Now, obviously there will be a big cause to put them in the top 4. But again, I think what's happened at Leicester is there's just a mentality now where they just are stuck in a rut. 2 seasons in a row, they've heavily dropped off top 4. It's just a mentality now within the players that's going to stay with them and stick with them if they're in the same position again. And that's the problem Leicester are in right now. And yes, they did win the FA Cup. Massive successes to them. But I still do think they're going to finish 5th. They've made some brilliant signings. Patson Daka looks really good. Boubakary Samari looks good. Ryan Bertrand's a good backup addition. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Leicester in 5th, which is where they finished. 4th, Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool made some good signings, but then like in Kanate, but are they really doing much more than that in the summer? I'm not too sure. Has Klopp maxed out this squad as much as he can with these core of players that he's built? I probably think so. Can he take Liverpool any further? Questionable. So I'm going to stick them in 4th. Man United, 3rd. Now, some may say 2nd or even 1st, but I'm going to stick United in 3rd just because they've got Oli as manager. They've got Oli as manager. They're not going to be in a title discussion this season. I think it's going to be between Chelsea and Man City, just because I'll go on to that in a second. But I think Man U will finish 3rd for the main reason that, look, Oli's the manager and he can't sort out that midfield balance. They've signed some 2 very good players though in Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho, which will elevate them. Don't get me wrong. But I still do think they'll drop 1 position because Chelsea will get much better. They have a better manager that will get much more out of the team they've got, because even if Chelsea don't add, they will, but even if they don't, their team gets way better. And under Oli, I just don't see it happening for United. So I'm going to go 3rd. Chelsea, as I said, 2nd, as you can see up there, obviously. And Chelsea, again, won the Champions League. Best team in Europe by far last season in terms of the Champions League. And they will improve. They're a team that already are improving, young squad. And they've got some aging players as well, like Sekunde could be joining them as well. Partnering Thiago Silva. They've got Reece James, Cesar Azpilicueta, Chilwell's at the back. Midfield, if they had someone like Declan Rice, they could be right up there, in my opinion, for a title race. But in my opinion, there's only one title winner again this season, and it is Manchester City. They look like they're going to add Jack Grealish, and in my opinion, that's where it's done. League's done. And if they get Harry Kane as well, then it may as well drop Spurs to like 13th. But in all seriousness, Manchester City, yeah, they're going to win the league easily next season. So that is it for my Premier League predictions for this upcoming season. What do you guys think of it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. We've got Man City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Leicester, Spurs, Arsenal, Villa, Leeds, West Ham, Everton, Wolves, Palace, Brighton, Southampton, Watford and Newcastle, and then the 3 relegation sides are Norwich, Burnley and Brentford. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.